Hell hath no fury like a 70-plus Coloradan promised a vaccine by the governor, then told to wait. The scramble to put together a plan after Colorado announced the next wave before the shots arrived. This state is passing an important mark, an encouraging one, in getting the virus under control. We'll take you to the coldest place in Colorado to meet the one man who lives there. The state's eviction moratorium expires at midnight. Next, viewers have raised an astonishing amount of money overnight to keep families with kids in safe housing. And we will end this miserable year with an ode to joy and why it's okay to feel it, because this is next. It's New Year's Eve and Coloradans are ready to do shots. Problem is, vaccine is not ready for all of the people in the next phase. It was kicked off by the governor yesterday. Healthcare providers did not know that the governor was going to open the floodgates before they had a plan or the vaccines in hand. Our Anusha Roy reports on a developing process.
It's been a frustrating day for Evelyn Brow.
Oh, actually, it was this morning at 6 a.m.
Oh, this morning. Okay.
Yeah. I called the Kaiser call center.
She was thrilled when she found out people 70 and older are in Group 1B for vaccinations, then equally disappointed when she got conflicting answers about when she would actually be vaccinated.
We're going to be watching our infant grandson. Excuse me.
Yeah. There is a lot on the line for her.
And my husband,
because Brow wanted to help her daughter out,
is in his, he's 70 and he has a serious heart condition.
All of that is up in the air now for Brow.
It was very, I was all excited yesterday when I heard that.
Kaiser helped explain why she isn't getting vaccinated right away, saying it's because the state doesn't currently have enough vaccines to immunize everyone in the expanded Phase 1B. It is expecting more to arrive in the coming weeks. Kaiser will reach out to their members when they're eligible based on the phased schedule, but when they actually get the vaccine will depend on the supply. The Health One system said it's transitioning between 1A and 1B, but said the same thing. There's limited inventory. Phase 1B includes more than 1.3 million people in Colorado. The state said they expect weekly shipments, which will allow them to eventually vaccinate everyone who wants a shot in this phase, and that they're moving as fast as the supply chain allows. This infographic will help explain the timeline. The state said it's moving through Phase 1A and above the dotted line on Phase 1B, and then will start with the remainder of 1B. The state is anticipating getting through a majority of Phase 1A healthcare workers by January 15th, and allocations guarantee the second dose of the vaccine.
Every dose that was given has a mirrored dose, meaning the federal contract has held back a mirrored dose for that person.
So the general gist from everyone that I was talking to today is that they're still working on the process. It's still evolving, and they know a lot of people have a lot of questions. I do want to mention, though, Evelyn said that Kaiser did reach back out to her today. They were able to talk things through, clarify some things, talk about the timeline for her getting vaccinated. And Kyle, she feels a lot better about it because she got some answers.
Yeah, that's all anybody wants. So, I mean, as delightful as it sounds, like we could all cram into our local pharmacy like spawning salmon, but is there any thought to maybe opening up like a mass site, like the Pepsi Center was for tests, where you could just pull up, give them the cold shoulder and get a shot?
Yeah, I mean, the governor's office said that that's definitely something that's being discussed, a mass vaccination clinic. It would be hosted by counties and, it would be kind of a centralized location, but we don't have a lot of details on it. We were talking to the Tri-County Health Department about it, and they were saying, yeah, we're definitely interested in this, but it's just too early for them to know when they're going to have enough vaccines to even be able to pull off an event like that. Denver's saying something similar, that they're looking at all the possibilities, but right now they are focusing on the clinic appointment model to get people vaccinated.
All right, this is going to be a daily thing we're going to discuss. New Year's Eve, and Anusha and I are dressed like Thanksgiving side dishes. Thank you, Anusha.
Yeah.
So the governor successfully buried some critical headlines about the vaccine shift with a late-night announcement last night that he was directing the state to move all the counties in level red restrictions to the less restrictive level orange. The head of a metro area mayor's group told me he supported the move, but saw it as just more bad communication from the governor. The governor told us today he thought people were generally aware that he was considering that move. The state is not meeting its own metrics for reopening in some of those counties, but the numbers are encouraging statewide. Here's a milestone for you. We're under 1,000 patients hospitalized, 989. First time we've been under 1,000 since early November. Our positivity rates bumped up recently, 7.3%. It's a bit over the weekly average, which is also increasing. And we've seen back-to-back days now with high case counts, more than 2,400. That bumps the weekly average up over 1,800 today. It's certainly something to watch, but as we always say, hospitalizations are the key. Well, you know what they say about no good deed, and sure enough, in came the government this week to punish the distilleries that stepped up to make hand sanitizer this year. Those are the businesses that were trying to alleviate the shortage and find some ways to make money during the shutdown. The FDA announced they get popped with a $14,000 fee for making hand sanitizer. The federal government said that if the distilleries wanted to avoid the fee, they had to stop producing and selling hand sanitizer by today. Distilleries in Colorado we talked to said they had no idea this was coming. Then fortunately, late this afternoon, the Trump administration told the FDA to drop the fee. The head of the Parker Republicans group, who started publishing the home addresses of public health workers, was clear about his strategy this week. He said that he was going to target low-level health inspectors trying to put pressure on the governor to end COVID restrictions. Mark Hall's doxing attack page on Facebook, which attracted elected Republicans in Douglas County as members, was quickly taken down after we reported on it. And the governor spoke this week about that attempt to pressure him.
On behalf of the state of Colorado, I want to discourage any form of doxing in people's personal lives or because of political vendettas or for any reason. And we absolutely value the work of our public health officials who have really been working extraordinarily hard during the first pandemic in a century to prevent additional loss of life.
Douglas County Sheriff's Office said it was monitoring that page but didn't think that any laws had been broken. After the page went down, Mark Hall posted, then deleted an apology. It's a struggle to say something about this year that has not been said or read by now. It's all some variation of 2020 was the worst. I think we should acknowledge that some of us felt moments of great joy in 2020. I did. Acknowledging that is kind of uncomfortable because you know how many people suffered great loss this year. But all the bad in the world can't wipe away the fact that for my family, 2020 was the year that we brought a healthy baby home from the hospital. I know some of you did too. It's all right to spend some of the final minutes of 2020 reflecting on the joy you felt this year. For new relationships or for old ones renewed. For a job that you managed to get or hold on to, for personal growth you experienced while often isolated, the joy that you found in serving others in their time of need, joy for all the challenges you overcame, or a lot of those. Reflecting on the joy that you felt this year, talking about it even, it's not an insult to those who didn't share in those moments of your life. Hopefully, it's a reminder that joy remains as much a part of our world as loss and struggle. And our hope for 2021 is more joy for more people. Colorado's eviction moratorium could end tonight. As the governor keeps renters in anxious suspense, Next viewers have raised a whopping amount of money to help families with children as they face eviction. An inventor in Inglewood has his own idea to help people who are homeless. And we'll meet a guy who has a home, the only home, at the coldest place in Colorado. Coldest place in the continental 48 this year. He's out there on a mission. Next. Governor issued an order today blocking landlords from charging late fees for the next 30 days. We'll find out later tonight if the governor is going to let Colorado's eviction moratorium expire at midnight. They won't say now. The federal eviction ban ends in a month. So I cannot tell you what it means that Next viewers have raised $117,000 since last night in order to help families with children who are expected to be evicted in the coming months. Our Word of Thanks microgiving campaign this week is supporting the nonprofit Family Promise. They help families in the metro area find safe, temporary housing so they're not on the streets, and then they get them into a long-term place to stay. If you text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491, I will send you that link to join me and a bunch of other Next viewers in donating to this important cause. And a side note, it's pretty incredible. We are right now $3,000 away from Next viewers raising $2.5 million for Colorado's nonprofits this year. Chances are somebody who gives in the next few minutes is going to be the one to put us over the $2.5 million mark. Everybody out there should be super proud of what you've done. So we know there's no single solution that can fully address homelessness. There's a guy in Inglewood, knew he couldn't do everything, but he decided to do one thing, and he showed our Katie Eastman.
It is about 100 years old.
The connection between an old banjo and Dutch Seyfarth is joy. Joy brought to him when he restores something created before World War II.
Everybody, needs something in life that puts a smile on your face. And then, then I sell them, and that's how I pay my bills. Play a little song. It's great. Music instruments make people happy, but at the end of the day, nobody needs a 100-year-old banjo. And so, this is why I branched out.
Sometimes even joy needs a companion.
Hello, good morning. We're with the church. Are you hungry? They are delicious. They're spicy, too.
Faith connects Dutch with his visits to people who are
Bless
homeless.
this food in Jesus' name. Amen. It's so good to see you.
He believes in forming a bond with all neighbors,
To walk away with nothing, you stupid lying mother.
connecting even with the ones that others turn away from. Countless conversations with people who sleep on the street bring him back to his home workshop, back to using his hands to fix something broken.
Every time they leave their homeless camp, their camp is robbed by somebody. I wanted to create something where they could take their belongings with them.
Dutch created a shelter attached to a bike trailer.
Okay.
It's waterproof and durable, and the materials cost a couple $100s.
The difference between me and other people is I'm a doer, not a talker. That'd be a good way to say it. We are commanded to help our neighbors. What better way to help our neighbors than to give them basic shelter?
I think Dutch is coming. We're feeding anyone who needs a hot meal.
5280 movement is in Englewood to help, but they struggled to keep their connection with the people who need it. The community center will be the first organization to start a loaner program with Dutch's invention.
Because the requirement is that they have to come and check back in with us every week, and we'll be in constant communication with that person who's checked out the bike shelter. Okay,
This is for you guys.
And that man who was screaming on the sidewalk, his name is Brandon Stillebauer, and he plans to check one out. Brandon says his stuff gets stolen when he leaves his camp.
All the time. It's always happening. It's always happening. I noticed somebody with my hat on this morning.
A bike shelter could help him bring his belongings with him and keep him dry when it snows.
I'm frustrated because of the way things are going. Who would be happy to be in this situation?
Every day, people connect with a passion, a person, a belief. And maybe one brings them closer to connecting all the dots they need. For Next, I'm Katie Eastman.
Dutch's project is being funded through an investor in Boulder and some organizations like churches and Boy Scout troops that pay for the materials. That loaner program in Inglewood will begin in late January. It's cold and it's lonely.
Kathy Sabin reported on the news that night. She goes, it was 52 below at Antero Reservoir. Thank God nobody lives there. I guess she didn't realize that there was somebody here taking that temperature.
We're sorry about that, Eric. We will meet the man doing an important job in one of the coldest places in America. Next.
everybody. A beautiful day today, a cool night tonight with our temperature dropping to 23 around midnight. A few clouds drifting in from time to time, mid-20s up until the midnight hour, and then, well, we could see those numbers go colder. We're in between storm systems, but Colorado dry, just an increase in high cloud cover and maybe a few light snow showers in the northern mountains. In Denver for tonight, this New Year's Eve, partly cloudy and 21. New Year's Day, sunshine with temperatures in the lower 40s. We've got temperatures above average for the new month and the new year. Sunshine and low 50s for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday of next week. Have a great evening.
The coldest place around is not inside the heart of your least favorite politician, but rather Antero Reservoir in South Park in Colorado. Coldest spot in the continental U.S. so far this year. Our meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen had a brisk talk with the one person who lives there.
There's a place in Park County where the heavy mountain air sinks to the valley floor and the cold collects like water in a pool. On Wednesday morning, Antero Reservoir hit negative 50 degrees. That's the coldest temperature recorded in the continental United States in 2020. And it's the fifth time since 1961 that it hit 50 degrees or lower. In 2017, it hit negative 52.
Kathy Sabin reported on the news that night. She goes, it was 52 below at Antero Reservoir. Well, thank God nobody lives there.
Well, no one except Eric Hibbs. He works for Denver Water as the caretaker of the dam and is the only resident at Antero Reservoir. It's his job to keep the water flowing.
It's the greatest job. You get to do a little something different every day. And
he also monitors this official National Weather Service thermometer. It was Eric that reported the negative 50 on Wednesday. He's been doing that for 29 years, and he knows that when there's fresh snow on the ground and then the skies clear out at night, there's no limit to how cold it can get.
I said, I bet we hit 40 in the morning, and I got in and it was 50 below, so I misjudged it by 10.
It is really nice out here.
Admirius Sofowicz is not a permanent resident at the reservoir, but he's there often. He says Antero is an ice fishing paradise.
Ooh.
He wasn't there on Wednesday morning, not because it was too cold, but he says the fish don't bite when the air pressure is high. He likes to go to Antero right as a big storm is rolling in.
Everyone thinks I'm crazy, but I will catch the most fish that day, more so than those beautiful sunny warm days.
It's just hard to beat mountain living up here as far as I'm concerned.
In Park County, I'm meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen for Next.
That's fantastic. The all-time record for cold in Colorado was negative 61 degrees up in Maybell in northwest Colorado, 1985. People have told me over the years that they still had school that day. I have looked for local newspaper accounts. I have been unable to confirm that. So if you know anything about northwest Colorado in that day, 1985, I want to hear from you. So guess what you all wanted to voice concerns about in tonight's feedback? That's next. Lots of feedback tonight. Appreciate everyone's concern that my sweater is made from the pelt of the NHL mascot Gritty, the Lorax, or Otto the Syracuse Orange. No, I'm fairly certain based on my body temperature after 30 minutes next to the fire that it is mostly wool. Although Lynn wrote in to say, you look like a little pumpkin pie, which I think means round. Hey, in all seriousness, our conversations here each night have made 2020 easier for me. I hope that you would say the same. And I'll see you next time.